On this week's Flame Central, we get to know some key newcomers for Liberty football, both on the field and on the coaching staff.
Plus, the story of Will Graham and the impact Liberty has made on his life. And the top 5 plays from the month of March. It all starts now. This is Flame Central.
An NFL head coach has high praise for Liberty, and a Flame is up for National Player of the Year. So much to get to this week, and who better to bring it to you than Rhett, me, and Emily, who will be with us in mere moments.
Yeah, that's right. Thrilled that you're joining us today. We start with some Liberty football. The Flames are in the midst of spring ball, and some new faces could be making a big impact in 2022. Our Emily Austin has more.
You guys keep mentioning spring, but it feels a lot more like winter out here this week in Lynchburg. Thankfully, the Flames have this state-of-the-art indoor facility that they can hold their spring practices. You know, there's less than 2 weeks remaining in spring ball for the Flames. Head coach Hugh Freeze has mentioned one of the things he's most pleased about is the effort, the energy, the attitude that his team has brought day in and day out to these spring practices. And he really credits the coaches who have had their players prepared for those competitive periods throughout these practices. When it comes to depth on this Flames roster, you probably first think of the defensive line. However, there's been a key addition in Hawaii transfer Davion Hunter that has provided some much-needed depth in the Flames backfield.
I think he's physical. I think he's outstanding vision as a runner. I really believe he could be an every down back, you know. I like that room with him and TJ and Shedro, and Malik Capers shown some good things too this spring. I think you could see us some probably with 2 of them on the field and using Shedro some in a lot of different ways.
I truly believe iron sharpens iron, to where like you see the next dude break a run, now you want to go break a run now. You see the next dude make a play, you want to make a play. You feel me? It just gets you happy. It's just all encouraging. We just want the best, and just for everybody to ball out, just the whole group in general, just the whole running back group to be the best group out there every day.
Like every coach says at this point in spring, Coach Freeze added, this team still has a long way to go. There's a lot to clean up, and there's still that big question mark hanging over this team. Who will replace Malik Willis at that quarterback position? Coach Freeze said it's too early to tell. However, the quarterbacks did make a step forward this week in practice, making the right reads. Looking ahead, be sure to mark your calendars for the Flames spring game happening on April 9th. Kickoff is at 10 a.m., and there's also an Easter egg hunt going on at 8 a.m. for the kids. Reporting for Flame Central, I'm Emily Austin.
Well, just over 150 days until the season starts. I cannot wait. All right, you typically think a job in the NFL would be the end goal for most. Well, not Jeremy Garrett. The new D-line coach of the Flames came to Lynchburg via the Cleveland Browns and firmly believes that God has put him on the mountain for a special reason.
Here we go. Hey, eyes up, eyes up, eyes up. There we go. Run through that tackle. Run through it. There we go. Big man tackle big, baby.
Guess I was described as a tenacious guy, played with a lot of effort and, you know, ran to the ball and got off of blocks and played violent. And that's really how I earned a scholarship and opportunity to play at Ole Miss. Off the field, I'm kind of, you know, just quiet, laid back, you know, family guy. But when I get in between the lines, I like transform into those playing days and really coach the guys hard.
See that? Hey, that's my one rep for the day.
That same tenacious spirit as a player I try to bring on the field as a coach.
Hey, boom, open up. Good rep, Booze. Eyes up, Dre. Eyes up, Dre. There we go. We running and hitting all day.
I started out as a banker, got a degree in business, got an MBA in business, but then I ended up financing a loan in Regions Bank for the local principal. And he just said, "Are you Jeremy Garrett that played football at Ole Miss?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Why are you not coaching? Why are you not mentoring these kids? You know, you have a background that, you know, you can really influence people more than what you are right now." I was thinking at the time I was in banking, why not have a more meaningful purpose with my life?
So I gained ground, right? So you're taking his momentum and you're throwing it away from you, right? If you're throwing it, you don't move, he still can get you.
People think I left the NFL because it wasn't good. You know, I left the NFL because, you know, I felt my purpose was here, and knowing the connection with Coach Freeze and what I can do with these guys here.
So your hands will start up, hit, release. Just like that. Cool?
I want to teach these guys here to just practice and train like pros. Study the game like a pro.
Let's go, baby. Show me some knockback. Let me see some knockback. Set, hit, beat, release. There we go. That's practice like a pro right there. There we go. Good. Lock your head in, bring your hips through.
Practicing with a purpose. You know, making sure my hands are right, my feet are right, and just really detailing everything and make it more about the process instead of the results.
Keith, you been paying attention. Good. All right, here we go, next.
The tools and the skill set, you know, that I'm looking for in a good defensive lineman, just really good twitch.
So go, hit, hit. Good. Hey, those elbows should disappear. Guys standing behind their elbows should go from here, boom, disappear. Say, hit.
I'm looking for unbelievable effort and finish. You know, that to me is the makeup of a good defensive lineman because you're getting touched every play. So it's one of those positions you're not gonna avoid contact, so you gotta, you know, be physical as well. And that's what I'm looking for out of this group, just to be a tenacious bunch, a physical bunch, bunch that get off of blocks and make plays for us.
When we're going, we wanna make everything look the same. So I want my approach to be the same. All right, so I want him 1-2, and I'm 1-2. So I'm 1-2. Inside now.
Coaching in the NFL does give you instant credibility, but I just think that gets you in the door. You know, how you can teach these guys, how you can grow and develop these guys, at the end of the day, that's what matters. So I'm all about the process with our guys here, and then just coaching those guys in the NFL, it's all the same. It's about development, letting them see the improvement on tape, and then that way they believe in what you're teaching them, and they go play harder, and they crave that knowledge from you.
There we go, now come around tight.
Excited to see the D-line perform this season. All right, staying with football, can you believe it's already been over a week since the Liberty Pro Day? Well, the event still has media buzzing about Malik's performance. However, more than Malik caught the eye of coaches and media attending the event, Liberty's facilities were also a big topic of conversation. Even RG3 chimed in saying that this Pro Day would benefit Liberty for the next 10 years. Here's just a taste of the buzz that was going about regarding LU's first-class athletic environment.
When a school makes a commitment to have facilities like this, you know, they're telling the student athlete, hey, football is important. We're going to do things at first class. You know, we want you to be first class. We want you to have the best of the best. So if I'm a prospective student athlete, I have a chance to come here, come to a winning program, come play for a coach like Coach Freeze and his staff, but also come and have first-rate facilities, knowing that football is really important.
I've always heard that it is really nice. I've just never been here. I mean, it looks like a big time university. I think the facilities are awesome. It's really everything you would want in a pro day.
I think it's huge. I think, you know, having a player like Malik, and it brings a lot of, you know, NFL personnel here, and it kind of opens people's eyes to, you know, I had no idea, you know, what to expect. And top-notch facilities, really as good as any college I've been to, you know, going around on these different pro days. Just seeing, you know, everything that, you know, Coach Freeze and this university has built is very impressive.
Yeah, that pro day opening a lot of eyes. Well, it was a tough weekend this past weekend for Liberty baseball. That would drop them out of the top 25. But instead of sulking, they took out their frustration on the Duke Blue Devils. The Flames taking the ride down to Durham on Tuesday. In the fourth inning, Logan Matthew, well, he gave this one a ride. 3-run home run, his second of the season, would put Liberty on top of Duke 3-2. That's where the score would stay until the ninth. Bases loaded, Drew Bachman comes through with a pinch hit RBI single. Later in the inning, Stephen Hill would get to the plate. He would drive in too with an RBI knock as well. And then finally, Brady Gulikowski would put a cap on it with a 2-run double, a 6-run inning. For the Flames in the ninth, that offense was a welcome sight for Liberty as they cruised to a 9-2 win, improving to 16-7 on the year and an impressive 6-3 on the road. All right, to softball we go now. Liberty on the road at Louisville trying to extend their 7-game win streak. It was 3-3 in the second when Lou Allen drops one into left. That brought in 1 run, and another would scamper home while the left fielder just kicked the ball around the outfield. It was 5-3 Liberty at that point. It was 7-5 Liberty in the bottom of the 6th, but that's when Taylor Roby hit one off the scoreboard. A game-tying 2-run home run, and we would eventually head to extras. In the 8th, Liberty's Devin Howard hits one across the street. A 2-run blaster, 6th of the year, and that would prove to be the difference. Liberty wins it on the road 9-7. They're now 22-12 on the year and have tied their longest winning streak of the season with 8 straight.
Flames trying to double down on Duke, this time though in lacrosse. Duke in the top 10 of the NCAA, and it would start off in Liberty's favor. Cami Merkel would pot her 17th of the season in the early stages. of the first quarter. And with the game tied at 1, Lizzie Ferguson, the gazelle-like run would put LU back on top 2-1. Flames and Blue Devils would trade goals in the second quarter, but Lizzie Ferguson would score her second of the game, giving LU a 2-goal lead heading into the break. In the third quarter, the Blue Devils would gain some momentum, going on a 4-0 run that would span into the fourth. That would eventually lead to an 8-6 lead for Duke. Tori Banks would score one late, but that would do it. Blue Devils hang on, taking it by a final of 8-7. Hey, let's jump on the court real quick. Darius McGhee has been named to the Lou Henson All-America team for the second straight season. He is the first player in program history to do so. That's not the only good news. Darius was named one of 40 finalists for the Lou Henson National Player of the Year award that is given to the top D1 mid-major player. McGhee wrapped up his season with the Flames ranked first in the nation in total triples, made with 142, and threes per game with an average of 3.4. Keep it locked right here on Flame Central for up-to-date news on the Lou Henson finalist. All right, still to come, he came to Liberty to play soccer, but left with so much more. We bring you the story of Will Graham.
Plus the top 5 plays from the month of March and a new Warm, Hot, and Fuego. That's all when Flame Central returns.
At the fence, leaping! Wow! The 5, pylon, he's in!
At Liberty University, we understand life can be unpredictable, and when you need a resilient career, your education should withstand any test. So we've made sure the degree you need is within reach by freezing one of the lowest tuition rates in the nation for 5 years and counting, and giving scholarships, discounts, and credit for work you've already done, because we're proud of what you do. We've done this for over 30 years, and we know how to help. We're here to help you. Since 1971, Liberty's had one mission: training champions for Christ. Our gold standard is excellence with integrity, and our objective is to thoroughly equip you with the resources and knowledge necessary to achieve your goals and fully succeed in your chosen field. The Helm School of Government is the premier place for Christian statesmen scholars who have a passion for public policy. Whether it is advocating, developing, enacting, implementing, or enforcing policy, Helm's professors are dedicated to preparing you to engage and enact societal change. Our programs train today's learners to become tomorrow's leaders, empowered to impact the world through a Christ-centered education as statesmen, leaders, scholars, and policymakers. Learn with us so that you may be equipped, trained, and sent to govern with integrity and excellence.
Liberty Baseball season tickets are on sale now. Get yours at libertyflames.com.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Billy Graham is probably the most well-known evangelist of all time. Chances are you know about him, but you may not know about his grandson Will and his journey to Liberty University as a soccer player. His time spent on the mountain changed his life, and in turn has helped change the life of countless others.
I grew up in a place called Boone, North Carolina. Boone's a small, or at least back then, it was a very small community up in the mountains of North Carolina. My mom signed me up to play soccer. You know, your mom tells you what you're going to do, you're going to play soccer. Okay.
Mom's decision would eventually lead to Will Graham competing in the sport throughout his youth and into high school.
When I first got to high school, I was a midfielder and a striker, and I wasn't all that good, but as keeper, I was really flourishing. And I got pretty good at it, and where I was wanting to go play in college. So when I started looking at colleges, I didn't look at sports programs, but I was looking for a college that God wanted me to go to. And it was interesting, when we started talking to some friends about schools, you know, my dad would answer, because I'm the oldest, so I'm the first kid to go off to college, so it's all kind of new, like where do we send our kid, you know? And so he was putting out feelers. I was trying to get some feelers.
It was around that time that a friend would invite Will to visit him at Liberty University.
I said, Mom and Dad, I want to go up to see my friend at this Christian school, this private school. You know, I'm thinking, this is a private Christian school in Virginia. So I had like an Ivy League setting in my mind. So I went up there to visit them, and you couldn't get further from that truth.
But what Liberty may have lacked in appearance at the time, it would make up for with its community.
But I had a great time up there, and I enjoyed the students. I loved the school. And at the same time, everybody that we had put out feelers to, like, where should Will go? Everyone came back with one answer: Liberty. It would be a place where I would fall in love with, not just with the school, but fall in love with God. And that would forever change my life. I was planning to go up there and to start, and I just didn't want to play anymore. I was kind of burnt out. God was doing other things in my life.
And he came to my office and he said, Coach, when we all come in for pre-season, Coach, I'm not good enough for this team, because I started to bring better players. He said, but I'd like to stay with the team. I said, well, are you willing to wash tracksuits, wash my gear? Yeah, I'll do that. He was ever so humble.
After serving as a manager that first year, Will would join the team as a backup goalkeeper for his sophomore season. His time under head coach Bill Bell would teach him about much more than just the game of soccer.
My mind floods with these wonderful memories I have with Coach Bell. Great guy, and we got to see him do some amazing things. It was after the game, talking to other players. That's where we saw our coach shine, and it was the greatest joy in my life to watch that firsthand and see God use a great man to lead other people to Christ, even they were the other team and the other coaches. That's what was amazing.
After playing that one season, Will would give up the sport for good. During his remaining time at LU, God would lead him to deepen his faith.
But what happened during that time, you got to take all your recommended classes, Bible classes, and I knew the Bible, right? I mean, my dad read his Bible, we memorized scripture. We're a pro-God, pro-Bible family. And I knew Christ is my personal Savior. But it was a teacher, and that was Harvey Hartman. And he helped me fall in love with God's Word. I mean, I really did. I was soaking it up like I knew all these stories. But now it just took on a whole new meaning.
After Liberty, Will would go on to seminary and eventually serve as a pastor at a church in North Carolina. But after a few years, God would open a new door.
I would get my very first invitation to come and preach for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. It was from our director in Canada. And he said, Will, we're going to do this special youth event, and we want you to be the evangelist. I was like, that's not me. I'm a pastor of a church. You know, that's what my dad does. That's what my granddad does. Get them to do it.
But Will eventually agreed.
So I went up there and just started to preach, and God just hooked my heart. We saw a ton of kids give their life to Christ. I don't even remember what I preached on. It really doesn't matter. It's the Holy Spirit calling people forward.
The Bible goes on and says...
And so all that stuff at Liberty, all that at Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary was preparing me for what I'm doing now.
Jesus received them.
And what he's doing is following in the footsteps of both his father and grandfather before him. Will Graham is sharing the hope of Jesus worldwide through evangelistic crusades and ministry.
And so I am forever grateful for what Liberty instilled in me, and that's that love of God's Word. It still helps me today for what I'm doing.
Really cool to see the impact Liberty made on the life of Will Graham, and thanks to Jonah Jabor for producing that story. All right, Rhett, time now for Warm, Hot, and Fuego.
Right.
Top player moment from the past week. Let's dive right into it.
Let's do
You
it.
start off?
Yeah.
Who you got for Warm?
All right, Warm, it's the 4x100 men's team. Now, this is made up of Brandon Lutz, Diamante Griffin, Christian Lyon, and Donald McClinton. I wanted to give you like a fun fact about these guys.
Yeah.
So, okay, Griffin's from Mississippi, right? Let's say he was like, all right, I want to leave Mississippi, go see my boys, like on a weekend, not a weekend road trip, but like on a road trip over spring break. He's going to have to travel 1,732 miles. They are all spread out. You think like guys would be like-minded on the same team, you know, they are.
That'd be a lot of passes of the baton.
Right.
You should have broken that down, like how many legs of the relay it would have taken to get to Mississippi.
You'd have to go from Mississippi to Mississauga in Ontario.
Wow,
so
you're a
anyways,
math
fun
guy.
stuff. Yeah. All right, these guys took down a 25-year record. These four love to push one another. We saw that. They love to chirp at each other. It's
Talk a little
driven them
trash.
to great success. That time was 17th best in the nation. They're probably going to go to nationals with that time, so good on them. Fun to see. Always fun to see a record that's been up for like almost 26 years. Give it a month, it would have been 26 years. That long, that's incredible.
It's like that group has taken Liberty sprinting to another level
for
over the
sure.
past couple of years. So exciting to see. All right, from warm, we go to hot.
All right, Emily Kirby, she has one of the best Twitter handles in all of Liberty Athletics. Kick him to the curb, you know, curb with their last name. Great Twitter handle. All right.
Props, Emily.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it. It always makes me chuckle when I look at it. Her last 3 starts, now I'm going to take away the Louisville one. That's always your fear, right? You have a game and it's like, oh, will she have a bad night when you're thinking of WEF? She did, but we'll throw that out the window. Her last 3 starts have been terrific. Against UNA, she had 10 Ks. Against EKU, 13 Ks. Wow. Against Clemson, a ranked team, a really, really good team, she had 7 and lost that game 1-0. Emily has found her groove after a really slow start. Flames are going to need that. This senior lefty, she can work the rise ball so well, and I think you're going to see her have a really strong conference play. Wouldn't be surprised when it's all said and done if she repeated as pitcher of the year in the ASUN conference.
Okay,
you know,
there you go.
I really
Rhett's
believe it.
calling a shot. All right, finally, in Fuego, Rhett, who's your pick here?
All right, Garrett Horn, this guy from Kernersville, North Carolina. It's called the Heart of the Triad.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, this guy has a heart of a lion. I love this guy. Watching him play.
He's got a little swagger to him.
He does have some swagger to him. Comes in game 2 versus Stetson. You're calling that game.
I did.
Tough start for Trey Gibson. Liberty down 4-0. What's Garrett Horn do? Through 5 innings of work, you have 15 outs you need to get, right? He strikes out 10 of them.
Yeah.
Why not?
The defense is like, hey, let us know if you need us.
Yeah, exactly. He can throw the heat, but then he's got that dirty breaking ball. Like, he is just keeping people on their toes. You talk about hitters being off balance. He did that on that day. I really like Garrett Horn. You see the little skip right there? He's a lot of fun to watch, and hard to believe he's just a freshman.
Just a freshman, throws mid-90s. Yeah, he's going to be really good for a long time, hopefully, in a Flames uniform.
Sure.
Brett, you've been really good for a long time as well.
Yeah, you know.
Wasn't that nice? That's a good little segue, wasn't it? All right, hey, still to come, the top 5 plays from the month of March and one of the greatest moments from the past 50 years of Liberty Athletics. If that's not enough to get you to come back, there's nothing more I can do for you, really. That's all we got. More Flame Central coming up after this.
Earning a doctoral degree isn't just about the prestige. It's about achieving something extraordinary and becoming the kind of leader who inspires others. At Liberty University, we believe greatness is measured by what you give. So while our number of online doctoral programs keeps going up, our tuition prices haven't for the last 6 years. Over 75 doctoral degrees, 1 U. Infinite possibilities. At Liberty University, we understand life can be unpredictable, and when you need a resilient career, your education should withstand any test. So we've made sure the degree you need is within reach by freezing one of the lowest tuition rates in the nation for 5 years and counting, and giving scholarships, discounts, and credit for work you've already done, because we're proud of what you do. We've done this for over 30 years, and we know how to help. We're here to help you.
In 1776, one of the most important documents in our nation's history was penned by one of Virginia's most famous residents. Throughout the next 200 years, the importance of Central Virginia was deeply woven into the tapestry of our nation's history. Liberty University is blessed to be built upon these same historic grounds, furthering the Christian tradition of our founding fathers and training young men and women of character and of calling. At Liberty, you're welcomed into a community rich with history, and we invite you to explore our campus in Central Virginia to discover more than just the surface level. Building upon the tapestry of history, we strive for greatness, humbled to be at the heart of where the country began.
welcome back to the show. Can you believe the month of March has already come and gone, Brett? I miss it already.
Yeah, so do I. But before we officially say farewell, we first want to take a look at the top 5 plays from the month of March.
Yeah, let's start with play number 5. That's kind of the tradition here. We start on the baseball diamond. Liberty taking on Stetson. And Stephen Hill flashing that leather at the hot corner. The diving play into foul territory. Great reaction time, Rhett. Like a cat over there at third base as he makes that grab. By the way, Liberty would go on to win this ball game in walk-off style in the bottom of the ninth. So a great start to that series for them.
Gotta love it. All right, let's head to softball. Lady Flames hosting North Alabama. Rachel Roop on the run, makes the catch. How did she hold on to that ball? She's okay, guys. She's okay.
She's okay.
Yeah, you think it might take out the ribs or the sternum, something like that. Nope, she held in there. Great job by Rachel Roop.
All right, play number 3. Now, I'm just realizing all these plays are actually taking place in foul territory. Did you see that? All right, this one's no different. Logan Matthew ranging into foul territory, making the grab against North Carolina. This play would make SportsCenter's top 10. The range, the catch, the big fella getting after.
Yeah, that was dirty. All right, nothing foul about this play, Matt. ASUN tournament, Darius McGhee. Watch him track this down. Just the timing. Look all of 5'9", but getting up there. Fearless Darius McGhee. Just one of like a million great plays he had in conference action. That's play number 2.
Yeah, if they had called a foul there, I guess it would have continued with the theme. But anyway, play number 1, back in foul territory we go. Great Betts, a drop third strike, sliding into the on-deck circle and throwing to first base and gets the out. Take a couple more looks. And in fact, watch assistant coach Tyler Cannon right there. He gets the duck out of the way of the throw.
Cover.
I have never seen a play like that before. Incredible job by Great Betts to record the out.
Yeah, I love to see Betts slide through. That was such a good one. All right, from the top plays of the month to one of our top moments from the past 50 years. This week we head to the tennis courts.
Yeah, we take it back to the 2019 season, and the lone senior on that team had a senior day to remember with a play that made SportsCenter's top 10. April 6th, 2019. Was it skill or self-defense? Eddie Gutierrez made SportsCenter's top 10 at number 3 with this display of self-preservation. Not only that, it was senior day, and Eddie was the only senior on the team. So it was fitting that with the team score tied at 3-3, Eddie would battle North Florida's Jorge Nunez in the deciding match and win. It was the 68th victory of his career and capped off a senior day that Eddie Gutierrez will remember for a long time.
Not sure if he could do that again if he tried. Great defensive effort, but love to see it. All right, hey, the Flame Central podcast, we were talking earlier about Duke and Liberty and lacrosse. Almost a big win for the Flames, just losing by 1. But we did have Kelly Nangle, their head coach, come into the studio for the podcast. Always tells great stories. Very entertaining, very fiery.
That's right.
You could say about Kelly Nangle. And then also football, man. It continues to move on. Spring ball, spring game coming up soon. We'll be covering all that.
That's right. So check out the podcast. Also go to libertyflamecentral.com for any stories you may have missed. You can check them out right there. All right, he's Rhett. I'm Matt. Thank you so much for watching. We'll plan on seeing you right back here next week.